I'm not upgrading to Ozone 12. I've spent years grinding with Ozone 10, which, don't get me wrong, has a great mastering chain, but is Ozone 12 better? I downloaded Ozone 12 and went through its features to see what all the hype is about. I watched a few YouTube videos to check what others think, and what I found is shocking. Now, as you notice, this isn't gonna be your typical video where I hype its game changer, new features, and sell you the plugin. Nope. Not even close. In this video, I'll show you the truth behind this pricey upgrade. We're gonna build a mastering chain with it. I'll show you cheaper and even free options for some of its new features. And we're gonna compare Ozone 12 to an older version of Ozone and to Waves mastering chain, where I use the new Waves L4. Let's jump in. We have Ozone 12 here, and I want to start by saying that if we hit Auto Master with all these fancy options and rely on it, we can wave goodbye to our professional master. I never use it in Ozone 10 and I don't like it now in Ozone 12, but hey, if you know a pro who masters with this, let me know. Now, let's jump into the part that most pro engineers would use. Right off the bat is the same meter as the previous versions. I never use it because the numbers aren't easily readable for me. I just don't like its design. It comes up with RMS as default, which is actually unusable. Not because of the type of measurement, but because it's not up to standard. It measures differently than other RMS meters. I don't want to get into technical details, but I can't rely on this. We can change the measurement to LUFS, which is good, but the peak level turns red even though I'm not peaking, which is kind of distracting. If you know why it turns red, let me know in the comments and tell me if you like this meter in the plugin. But I prefer to use the free Logic built-in metering plugin. Okay, now let's get into some of the new features and the plugin chain. The song is ready for mastering, but at this point it's a bit quiet. For mastering, we need to hear all the little details we like to enhance. For this reason, I like to start with the maximizer just to bring up the level and test where we are at. Native Instruments added a new algorithm, IRC5, so I'll be using that and comparing it against other algorithms I've used several times in the past on earlier versions. Compared to the older version, I hear a subtle high-end boost, just so you know. Now we got a good level, so we can hear what needs to be addressed to get a better sound. We already have a solid mix, and with mastering, we shouldn't be doing any heavy lifting. It's not about fixing underlying issues, it's about getting the best out of what we have. When I listen to the song, I start by monitoring the low end, because I find that if I sort out the low end, the top end kind of sorts itself out. So I'm gonna use the new bass control and place it before the maximizer. It has a balance and punch meter that guides you, but I think it can also be a distraction. I'm gonna add some processing, and I just wanna hear how the limiter reacts to this while getting a slightly thicker low end. If you have a good mix, you wanna use it very subtly, and you can substitute this plugin with a couple of free or cheaper plugins too. I often use low-end focus, which does similar things more subtly and has been enough for me so far. Bass control is a nice addition, but it's not game changer. Now, I mentioned that I hear a bit of a high-end build-up, probably from the vocals, so I'd like to address that. They added the Stem EQ option. I wanna show it to you and then break down my thoughts. Okay, this is great to have in Ozone, especially if you use a DAW that can't separate stems yet. However, if you're a Logic user, for instance, stem separation is already built in with much more sophistication, and you can apply any plugin to the stems you would like. Okay, overall we have a slightly thicker sound, but it also means that we put more pressure on our limiter. Most of the energy comes from low frequencies, which contribute heavily to peak levels. Sub-frequencies can make or break mixes and masters, so we need to tighten the low end. One of the techniques is applying a high-pass filter. We reuse this energy in the signal, lowering the peak levels, entering the limiter. I've cut the extreme lows to reduce pressure on the maximizer, and I also applied subtle dips in the low mids and the highs to maintain clarity. Now, to make the mix feel like one cohesive unit, we need to create some glue. Instead of a traditional compressor, I'm using the dynamic EQ. I'm treating frequency build-ups to glue them back. This helps us get a cleaner, louder master when it comes to maximizing the sound. But one trick to create a louder sensation is to widen the stereo field. I'm using the imager, which by the way is the same as the one in Ozone 10. It's my favorite imager. I also like to spice it up just a little bit as an icing on the cake with the exciter. Let's see if we can push the limiter further. It sounds great to my ears, but I'm really struggling with the CPU. There is nothing extra going on, so it shouldn't be a problem. I have an Apple M2 Max with 32GB RAM, it shouldn't do that. However, if I switch to the older version, I don't have any issues. Now let's compare this chain to my Ozone 10 mastering chain and one of my mastering chains with the new Waves L4. In the quiet of the night and under the moonlight, ooh, here we are, no need to hide, loving under the moonlight, oh yeah, 'cause I always see with you. Our Ozone 12 mastering chain is competitive, but each one has a different sound, so let me know which one is your favorite in the comments. This Waves mastering chain is available in our mastering chains bundle, which is discounted right now, but not for long. Click the link in the description to get the deal. Overall, I'm a big fan of Ozone and I love Ozone 10, but Ozone 12 just isn't working for me. My projects are crashing because of it, and the new extra features just aren't worth the price they're asking. Try out the demo and let me know your experience with it, what you like or don't like in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And if you want to know more about the new Waves L4 Ultra Maximizer and how it competes with other maximizers like Master Plan, then watch this video next. See you there.